Okay, here we are in Vizrt Trio. We've designed everything in Vizrt Artist. We set up the animations. We have the control plugins on here. Now it's time to import our scenes. Your interface may look a little bit different depending on what version of Vizrt Trio you're using. But before we go in and actually import our scenes, what I'm going to do is create a new show here. So there's this little button in the upper left. It's a create show button. If I click on that, it takes us into our show directories here. We have a show on the left, and we can break it up into further shows here. So I'm just going to right click in here and say create show. I'm going to give it a name of something like sports, and I'm just going to hit enter. Here's our sports show. I'm going to double click on that, and it opens up back into our user interface here. I'm going to go into the upper right window, and I'm going to import my scenes. So I'm going to navigate to each one of my folders that has the scenes here. First, I'm going to start with the concept equals blue. I'm going to click on it, hold down shift, click the last one, and then there's an import button down here in the lower right. I'm going to click on that import button, and it tells you here in this right window that it's importing, and here in the upper left it shows you the actual scenes that it imported. So we still need to import our red and our green graphics. So I'm going to go back into the import scenes, into the concept equals green, select my first scene here, select my last scene by holding shift, and then I'm going to click import again. In the upper left window, it doesn't show you that it's actually importing, but here in the upper right or the right hand side window, it tells you that it is. So let's do it one more time. We're going to go into import scenes. We're going to go to the concept equals red. We're going to select the first scene and the last scene and click the import button. Again, here in the right window, it's showing you that it is importing, but in the left it's not. So what I basically have now are my graphics imported here. No, we only have 5 of them represented here in our upper left window. If we come over to our show concepts, you can see we have a blue, a red, and a green concept here. So here's my first graphic, my clock graphic. I hit play, it animates on. I hit continue, it animates off. Now we can come in and start testing these and swapping these out. So our first control object or field identifier in this clock graphic is our period. So we can come in here and type or swap out, and let's say this is the first quarter. So we can come in there. Now we have an image or a logo that we can swap out. So if we want to swap out a logo, we can swap out another logo. We have the clock setting here that is actually going to allow us to start and stop a clock. So I'm going to come into the editor here, and let's say we want 30 minutes on the clock. We can come over here and choose up or down, and then we can say over here in the right, set and stop or set and start, and we can use the continue or the stop or the freeze to continue this countdown. We can come over to our first team here, and we can change our team. We can change the score. We can come over to our other visitor team logo here and swap out the logo, and then we can come over and change the settings for this one as well and check that everything works. So we'll move down to the score, and we can type in a new score, and that works as well. So if we move over to our red, we can just come over to our show concept, bring that one up, select the green, and now our green graphic is here. So we can play that, and that comes in, we can play it, and it goes out. If we want to select the red one, now our red graphic comes up with all that information that we filled out. Again, if you need to save this, all you would need to do is hit the save or the save as button, and we can give it a number, and now it shows up down here in our pages. So let's move to our other coming up here and test this one out. We have this. So if we come in and type down here or have a title in this area, then we can come over and change the information in here. And as we type, you can see that it changes that text. If we go back, if we change the title or the length of the title, it actually pushes that information over. And if we want to check the green one, we can check and see how that looks in the green concept. It comes in and it animates out. If we wanted to check the blue one, we can check that one as well. It keeps that same information, animates in and animates out. Let's check our lower third here. So here we called up the blue lower third. We can certainly change our text there. We can change our subline text. That all works. And if we want to come in and swap out our logo, we could certainly use a different logo in there as well. If we change our concept to green, you can see how that looks. It animates in, it animates out, and we can also check on the red one. You can see how this one looks as well. Animates in, animates out. Let's check out our full page here. We'll cool this one up. This is the red concept. So again, we will start with our headline text, and we can just quickly type something in there. We'll go into our subline. We can type something in there. Looks like that's functioning. Now we have our choice of a full page text. If I swap it, we have our pictures. So I'm just going to start with the full page text, come down here and make sure that when we type, that everything auto wraps. So I'm just pretending that I'm actually typing something in here just to check the auto wrap, and it looks like it does, so that when we hit the right edge of anything, that it's automatically going to auto wrap. So let's switch our OMO here to the headshots. Now I just need to tab down to these individual headshots here, and we actually have a choice between 3, 2, or 1. So whatever we want to choose here, we can try it out. So let's bring up at least 2 of them, and we'll try swapping everything out here. So first, looks like we have a headshot, so we can go ahead and change that guy. We can come down here to the player name. Let's say this is player 2, and we have some player information here that we can fill out, and this should have the auto wrap on it as well, so that when we type, it automatically wraps. We can come to our next headshot here and swap out our images for this. That headshot's a little bit too big, so we might want to adjust that. We can adjust our player name in here, and the information should automatically wrap on there. Let's check our different colors here. So if we go into green, we'll animate on and both animate off as well. So if we go back to blue, we can check how that looks. Animates on, it animates off. And if we want to add another headshot up here, we just need to go back into that OMO setting and add another headshot there. So if you wanted to save this, we would just come up and hit save as, or a save. We could give it a number, and now we have that page saved within our pages. So let's check our snipe here, and we can come in and start typing or checking to make sure all of this works. First, we have our player here, so we can type in a player name, and as I type, you can see how that headshot adjusts with it. So if we have a short name, it will go left. If we have a long name, it will go right. We can come down and change our number here. Now we can come in here and try and swap out our headshot. If we change that image, you can see that it changed the headshot as well. We have a special box here, so if we delete the captain, that box will go away. However, when we come in and start typing some information, you can see how that box will grow out from the right. Now we can move down to choose how many different lines of text that we want underneath it. So if we don't want any, we can just take this OMO down to 0. If we want 1, we can just type in 1, and we can come in and change the text in there. If we want 2 lines, we'll come in and change 2 lines and then make sure that the text works. So let's go back to our OMO, and we can add our 3rd line, and let's make sure that text works as well, so that when we type, it changes it out. We can check our green concept, so we'll go ahead and switch the concept here to green, and you can see that it animates in, it animates out as well. So we got one more here to check in the red concept. We'll hit play, and it animates in as well as animates out. So that is the Design 2 tutorial, and like I said, we set this up so that we can quickly change colors in our scenes and use these show concepts to save off different variants and or concepts of these graphics.